This body of work was all inspired by walking in my local area. At the time, first project was in Llandyssil in Pontwelly, and I was walking and just drifting around, really noticing, and at the same time I was decorating my house, and I started seeing this kind of link between the images and the words as being quite interesting, poetic and funny. So I was also making sure that I was finding colours as I went which could work as a kind of palette and complement each other. But each one has either a bit of history or poetry maybe. So in the reds we've got things like tin dreams, stacks of scarlet, garage jam, thinking about my brother jamming in the garage, but also a kind of red, and breezy grey. So I love that kind of really strange, unique style that paint charts have of naming colours, that kind of a little bit funny, a bit odd, but give a uniqueness to the colour. And I think also I was looking at surfaces which were coloured all around the town that I was walking around, but all of the surfaces were mostly kind of peeling and old, and there's kind of a lot of history in the skin of these buildings. And it's kind of an anti-paint chart because everything kind of needs a lick of paint around there. I started by walking and drifting around, and once I had the idea that I needed to collect all the colours for the palette, then it became a kind of scavenger hunt or a kind of urban foraging where I was looking for those shades. But it was important to me to kind of cut up and stitch together interesting little moments become a bit more abstract. I studied textile art in Winchester School of Art, and it was quite conceptual, so we really took textile to be any medium or material we wanted. But I like the idea that I'm still somehow stitching things together, and I am very interested in the surface of things, as you can see from all the different peeling paints and textures that I've sought out in my pictures.
So did you have to discard many?
No, I had to let go of lots of little moments from all my walks. So the Llandyssil one took sort of about 4 years, and then the River Teifi one took nearly 5 years.
Wow.
You know, doing it when I could. So yes, I had to get rid of quite a lot in order to edit down and boil it down to the ones I felt could hold their own on the...
So they're meticulously put together. So how did you decide on putting them together like that, and the spacing and everything?
There are quite a lot of edits, so I would try out a whole palette and then I would take a load of things out. So it's changed in terms of where colours went lots of times.
Do you have a favourite?
Favourite is really tricky because I think they need to be read together.
They are a story, aren't they?
They're a kind of strange map, you know, through words and images, an alternative map of a place. It was important to me to make it into a bookwork because that was the origin of the inspiration. And I really wanted people to be able to hold it and spend time reading it, and be able to sort of treat it as a map of a place.
So tell me about the Untitled Chapter series.
We came to live in Aberteifi from Llandyssil in 2015. And of course then I had a whole new area to explore, So I started the project then to photograph again. It was important to me that the walking was a kind of slightly unconscious act, so I would sort of drift around. I didn't just hunt down things, I sort of drifted around, saw what I noticed. And I felt that some things were about to disappear, because sometimes someone was on a building project, or someone's left some gas cans outside to be collected, and they're going to be gone. So you kind of have to grab those moments. 5 years later, some of those things aren't there anymore. I do feel there's quite a bit of history that I've managed to hopefully catch just in the nick of time. Cardigan is so rich with all of its textures and colours and different eras of architecture.
So have you found, as you're getting older, that you're choosing to photograph different things, or you're photographing similar things with this project? Has it changed at all in terms of your choices? Because you've obviously got colour choice, but then you've got almost like political choice as well. Well, not really.
Yes, no, that's probably true. With Keep Left, I did feel that I called it a plangent tone calling for liberal application, and what I meant was let's keep left. And there's a red tone in there, so I suppose I am revealing something about myself, but also kind of trying to pay tribute to what is there, because I think having come only 5 years ago to live in Aberteifi from Llandyssil, I really appreciate that there's already a wealth of culture and history here to enjoy, and tradition, like this homegrown tomatoes sign is outside every year, and I just feel like that's a little bit of Cardigan life.
And now you're a mum as well within the last 5 years, so is there plans to do a family version of this, or is it just site specific for the walk-in, and would you take it into other fields?
I'm not sure really if I would do that. I work in schools doing art projects, and I think it would be really fun to do some kind of, photo marathons and things. But really it's a wonderful opportunity to get out and walk and look and notice.
Yeah. And
it's quite peaceful and it feels purposeful, because I know that I might find something that I want to put into the map. Yeah.
So you really are looking at the town in a completely different way, in a completely different perspective, because you're going through colour.
Yeah, I'm looking at the town through colour, but I'm also looking at finding some meaning through the words and the image. So sometimes, like with water closet, that's a closed down toilet, public toilet, and I just loved the colours that were on it. But I also kind of found myself thinking about facilities and services, and so you can go on all sorts of tangents. I think Matthias Ground, when you look at the history of Cardigan, there are so many people called Matthias. There are two 19th century photographers called Matthias, and there were shops called Matthias, and I just felt like this name Matthias just resonates through Cardigan, and I just like the idea you can pay homage to a bit of the history, and the surface of a building might seem very temporary, but there kind of is history just on the skin of that building. So as a Welsh speaker, I was keen to bring in the poetry of the Welsh language, and that people could get a little window in on some names and meanings. So for example, llecyn is a word for a place or a little spot, and I like the idea of that. And then glas y dorlan is the word for the kingfisher, which we've been seeing a lot of on the Teifi this year, especially last year. Creu'r glas is a heron, also kind of absolute king of the river down here. Llecyn, meaning place, spot or patch, offers somewhere to call home. Melyn wy, egg yolk best describes this rich golden colour. Plygain, this joyful gold celebrates the traditional Christmas service held before dawn with song and candlelight. Glaw hallt, meaning salt rain, references the briny Teifi estuary as described in the poem A Cay by Cerwyn Jones.